I'm back, bitches! So, the common application just opened. I know for me last year when it was August 1st, I kind of went into panic mode because it's kind of like a signal that, oh shit, college applications is really starting.
I'm in danger!
And so, understandably, a lot of you guys are probably stressed out right now, like I was at this point. When you really think about it, it's not that hard to just fill out your information and stuff. But I think there's a lot of things that people can screw up on, and there's a lot of things that people just get confused on and they want more details about. So I'll be trying to cover as many of those important details and go through everything in the application like it says in the title. We're going to start seriously from the very top here. Profile, it just talks about your personal information, all that good stuff. If you guys have been on this channel before and you didn't know my real name somehow, there it is. There's a part of this where they ask you for your GPA in the grade section of the education section. After looking through stuff online, you should definitely put down your weighted GPA if your school does weighted GPAs. And you should only put down the unweighted GPA if your school doesn't do weighting. It says current or most recent year courses. Just make sure you're putting in the courses for senior year, because I remember I was filling out this comm application like during like June or July. I ended up putting like the courses from junior year, and I almost submitted it like that. So make sure you're putting down your senior year courses, not your junior year courses. Okay, this is the first major thing that I want to discuss. So the honors section. So they give you a maximum of 5 slots for honors. And I want to make sure that you guys all understand this, okay? So if you have an extracurricular and you put it in the activity section, right? If you have an award from that, so like for instance, let's say you're on math team and you got a medal at like your regional competition, okay? You don't want to put that award inside the honor section. You want to put that award inside the description for the activity section. I'll talk about the activity section later. This is just for awards and honors that do not have a relationship with something in your activity section. So you want everything in here to be completely separate from what you're talking about in the activity section. So for instance, I wrote here, I was a National Merit Summing finalist. And so I got it in 12th grade. It was a national award. And that has nothing to do with any of my activities. So that's why I put it there. And another thing too, you want to make sure that you put your most impressive or like most important awards near the top. Usually you want to put the best at the top and the least important or like the least impressive at the bottom. There's not much else to explain here. Yeah, there's just a bunch of awards. Another thing too is that I didn't have many awards like that weren't related to my activities. And so to fill out the last 2 sections of my common application, I just wrote National Honor Society and Spanish National Honor Society. And those can definitely be considered activities, but from my research online, even though it seems kind of stupid, apparently you can write down any honor societies like inside the honors section. And I'm assuming that basically is just like saying like, oh, I was honored by becoming a member or like offered an invitation into the honor society. That's why it can be considered an honor. Unless you have like a leadership position in the honor society or like a really big contributor to that honor society, for the most part, the admissions officers know what honor societies are and they know what people do in them. If you want to fill out your honors section more and you weren't like extremely important in an honor society, you should just put the honor society in your honor section. Okay, but before we move on, I just wanted to talk today about the sponsor of today's video, Meditation Nest. It's basically just a meditation app that has everything from guided meditation to like relaxing background music and even music to help you fall asleep at night. Taking like 5 to 10 minutes out of your day to just clear your mind and just sit there and focus on your thoughts and your body, that can really help you get through some tough times like you guys are about to experience with this application season. So if you're interested in something like that, please go check out the links that I will put in the description and in the pinned comment down below. With that said, I'll get back to the actual video. Oh yeah, in the education section, there's also this thing called future plans. Before you submit your application to any college, you can edit like the common application. So any part of this application you can just like modify before you send to each individual college. And so what I did, I made sure, like triple check every time, is that some schools I applied for chemistry and some schools I applied for chemical engineering, depending on which program I liked better at the school. When it says career interest, when I applied for chemistry, like just chemistry, I would write scientific researcher because that makes more sense for your major. If I was going to apply for chemical engineering at that college, I would write career interest as an engineer. And so based on the major you're applying to, you want to make sure that your career interest before you submit actually matches up with that that major. Because, you know, if you write down your major is going to be econ and your career interest, it says you want to be an engineer.
Stay off the damn weed.
Okay, and so this testing section is also pretty important. So while you're going to report your SAT scores, or your ACT scores and your subject test scores and whatever on this application, some schools will also want you to submit your official score reports directly from College Board or the ACT or whatever, and give it to the college, which costs money, which sucks. University of Michigan, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, those are just a couple of examples. They wanted me to submit my official SAT and my official SAT subject test scores in order for them to be considered valid. But like most schools don't need you to send an official score report, but some of them will. And you want to make sure and check and look up for every single school what their policy is on that. And as for the AP tests, you do not need to report any scores that like look bad. Let's say you got like a 1 or 2 on one of this AP test, right? You do not have to report that. So if you just want to pretend like the AP test never existed, you can do that. Another thing is, if you got like a 4 or a 3, as long as the AP test score you have is passing, no college is going to look at like a 3 or 4 and think that you're stupid or like reject you because of that, okay? I recommend you keep it on there unless it's a 2 or a 1. Okay, this is the activity section, which is by far the most stress-inducing section in my opinion. And I could have made a whole video just about this section, but I really didn't want to because I feel like I'll just try to prolong the video too much and milk the topic for like more minutes on the video, which I didn't want to do. And notice here it says family responsibilities and hobbies, okay? Hobbies are considered activities, okay? So if you're scrapping for things to put in this section like I was, you can put hobbies. And honestly, hobbies tell the admissions officers more about you, like what you're like, what you enjoy. And they can tell them a lot about like who you are. Like I said, for the honors section, you want to order the activity section from most important to least important, like from activity 1 to the bottom. And so you have 10 spaces, right? So the misconception here is that you need to put 10 activities. And I know like a lot of like more qualified YouTubers out there, people who are more impressive than me, they might have 10 activities. I know some people, they're like,
oh my god, I don't have enough spaces for all my activities.
What the fuck?
And for us normal people, you might be like worried about how you aren't filling out all of the activities in this section. And trust me, if you don't have 10 activities, it's okay. If you have 3 or 2, like, or even just one high quality club or activity that you did during high school, you're gonna be fine. It can look better if you do have more of them. So what I did is I put my hobbies at the bottom of the list. And also, like I said, family responsibilities. If you are in a household where you need to take care of like younger siblings, or you need to take care of relatives, or you have like a very big responsibility inside your house, you should write about it. It's important. It's important to you. It's important for the admissions officers to know that, because it shows that you do have responsibility, that you are taking care of things in your house, and that's a big time commitment. And so I'm just going to go through a couple examples of how I filled out this section. And the important thing to note here is that the character limits are very challenging. Like, it is not easy to fill this out without going over the word limit. So my first activity was that I played club tennis during high school. And I said competitor in the United States Tennis Association, simple enough. The important thing to note, with 150 characters to describe what's going on, if you were just a participant and you didn't do a whole lot other than like achieve things and get awards, describing what exactly you do for something that is like pretty common or something that's self-explanatory, you don't need to do that, okay? And especially because you have such a limited space, like spend the time as much as possible talking about what you like achieved and what you actually did that was impressive. And if it's something that needs explaining, right, if like it's some sort of club or activity that isn't super common and is specific to like your area or to you, obviously you need to explain it, right? But if it's something like playing club tennis or whatever, you don't need to explain what that means. So like I said, I just wrote down like my highest rankings throughout 2019, and then I wrote down like July 2018 Hot 100 list number 32. If you're not a tennis player, and even if you are, you probably don't even understand what that means. You might be asking me, why didn't you explain what the hell like Hot 100 means? Well, first of all, because I had no more character space. There's not that much more space for me to type, and there's not enough space there to explain what that means. I'll explain later, but that is one of the things you should put in the additional information section, right? So if you have something in your activity section that you basically talked about, like you wrote down like an achievement or something, it's kind of unclear what that means and you want to expand on it, you put that in the additional information section. That is a very good use of that part of the application. Okay, yeah, in here, don't be too paranoid about like being very super precise about like the hours spent per week. As long as you're being like true to yourself and honest, and you actually put down like a reasonable estimate for how many hours you're spending per week, it's fine. And traveling and prep work and stuff, that all counts towards hours spent per week, just so you know. Another example here, captain of the varsity tennis team. So I make sure to write down my leadership position here. And because it isn't super self-explanatory what captain means, because captain can mean a very different thing depending on like which school you go to, what activity it is. I wrote down like organized practice, recruit players, direct workouts. So after I described basically as fast as possible what I did, I went on and said like, okay, we won the state tournament in 2017. I was part of the all-state like team in 2018, stuff like that. I won conference 3 times. So you just want to write down like the most important achievements after you describe what exactly it is you did. Again, captain of WISE or academic challenge. And this might be a little confusing, like what do you mean formally WISE, right? That's something I also explained in the additional info section, like I said earlier. So here I just briefly described what it meant to be a captain of the team. So I led practices, I tutored members, and I organized trips. I got second place in chemistry at state 1 year, all that good stuff. Like what I would call legit activities, I had like 5 of them. And then afterwards, because I realized I didn't have very much in my activity section, like I felt kind of bad. And it says hobbies, and like I said, they actually do care about your hobbies. I wrote down, I write songs, and I wrote recreational basketball player because I like to play basketball.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And I realized just now that I never actually share my Common App essay on my channel. It's really corny. I'm just gonna warn you. I'll probably go over it someday, maybe in the near future. Let me know if you want to hear it. I know the video I did for like my MIT essays did pretty well, and so I don't know if you really want to like. Here's a little preview. You can already tell it's kind of corny, right? It also explains why I wear this stupid hat and why I wear it backwards. This essay actually is literally just explaining why I do this. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment, tell me that you want to see that essay. Additional information section, okay? And the first thing I have to say, do not write an additional essay and do not put it inside this section. I know it says 650 words. I know some people who like put in another essay inside of this. They don't want you to do that, okay? If the college has not asked you to talk about something, they don't want you to talk about it. The admissions officers are human. If they see that you did something like put another essay in the additional information section when you weren't supposed to, I'm assuming they would try not to be biased against that, but they're humans and they read thousands of applications over the course of like a couple months. So if you piss them off in any way possible, like because they're humans, I feel like your chance of admissions will go down. I noticed that they added this new thing called like the COVID question, like how your life has been impacted by COVID. And so if you're thinking earlier about writing your Common App essay about something that was centered around the pandemic, I urge you not to do that because they literally have another question here. And I think that basically is an indication that colleges don't want to see an essay like super centered around the pandemic. Do you wish to provide details of or qualifications not reflect an application? So that's the additional information section that basically people think about. And I said yes, right? I clarified what it meant for academic challenge to be formally named WISE. And that's like the main way they want you to use this section is to basically explain details and clarify things. Like it says in the prompt, that aren't super clear or just aren't in your application at all in the first place. Like the other main way that people use this section is to basically explain like extenuating circumstances that led to something that might look bad in your application. If there's something really that major in your life and it really impacted you so much and you didn't have a chance to talk about it in the other parts of the application, you should talk about that. It's important for them to know about that. It provides context to your application. Okay. So yeah, that's about it. That's the common application. If you have any more questions, I know I might have like skimmed over some things that people might have questions about. Please feel free to leave me a comment down below asking me for things. I'll try to get back to you. I promise I'll try. I know a lot of people who are subscribed are probably interested in applying to MIT, and it's actually not on the common application. Like MIT has its own separate application. I'll probably post a video about the MIT application in about 1 or 2 weeks. If you guys are interested in that, please subscribe or just be on the lookout for that later. But yeah, good luck in your applications this year. I hope you guys do well. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and peace.